Yeah, you popped up.
Good. Yes, it worked.
Thank you for sharing, Alegna. Thank you.
Yes. Hi, you look wonderful.
Hey,
I
thank
love it.
you.
I was looking at your video yesterday, the product you used. Did you do that today?
This is from this other day still. I have not had to reapply or nothing, so I stand behind it. I need to get my affiliate link so I can get paid if I'm talking about it.
I was up like, I don't see her link. Did she mean to do that? All right, good. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm glad you are here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you lead the way.
So welcome in, everyone. Like I told you all while you were waiting, I have a special guest today. This is I'm sorry, Naima. I almost called you Anim. Sorry. Anyway, this is Naima. She's the founder of the woman community that I recently joined. I joined the community because I was in search for a group of like-minded women that are going through similar challenges that I am. Those being standing in my power, remaining in my power, taking the full responsibility that comes with being a Black woman, a mother, a wife. It's a lot. And I have a hard time dealing with that. So I need community to get me through it, because sometimes people that are in your life aren't necessarily like providing the space that you may need. So I seeked out other places, and I found it. So everyone, introducing Miss Naima. She's a powerhouse. So I'm excited about today's discussion.
Me too. I want to applaud you, Aaliyah, because you're relatively young. You're a mom and a wife, but you're relatively young. You started young, and I know we're live, and this is the whole public component. But I want to say this to you and to everybody listening, that the actual internal reality and the decision making of, as my screen says, I don't know how many people can see that, but moving through the fear of being a grown woman. It's a very vulnerable process. It guts you. It's very sobering. And some women wait until they're old enough to be your mom to do something. Some will never do anything. Because it's difficult. And also because they never had people in their lives. I have a piece of content going up on TikTok later today about, women who are in their 60s who never had somebody in their life. Women who are very powerful, women who would have been hung and killed, centuries ago for coming out with their magic, coming out with their knowing, coming out with their wisdom about the body. And when you truly are uniquely powerful, right? And so I love to begin this conversation, Aaliyah, with that divide too, right? Like women who are very okay with, a normal life, right? And normal is subjective, but the things that are expected of a woman, right? And women who may have all that and she's still not pleased because her womanhood needs to be developed. And that is what really brings her alive. And for a woman, as you've heard me say, for a female person to actually become a woman is two totally different things, because most females are not women. So I want to applaud you, Aaliyah, for being here, for joining the community. And you've been around, because I've seen your name, like you've been watching.
Yeah, I peeped you probably for 2 months before I moved forward. You just got to make sure folks is who they say they are.
I thought it was longer than 2 months. But, I want to applaud you for that. I think I may have told you that, but I want to say it again just in case. To say yes, and move forward. So I want to applaud you. And then any other woman who's on her journey, the real one, the one that's raw and starts to separate you from the normals, I want to applaud that. So thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome. I'm glad you're here.
So take us off with this topic, because this is your hot topic. Tell the people.
Okay, so for me, I'm 29. If you all are new to the live, I talk about being a mom, having 3 under 3 and being married. And I also, at one point, I have 2 businesses. I was also working a 9 to 5. Thank God I'm blessed. I left August the 12th. So I've been strictly doing business since August the 12th. But even in that, businesses are kids too, in a way. So I really have 5 kids and a husband, and I also have to maintain me. And I found myself in a space to where I was getting up in the morning and I was going straight to my emails. I was getting up in the morning and going straight to business after I got the kids squared away, got their breakfast. And there would be times where my husband would be like, you make time to meet your clients, to do your work, but There's been laundry in the living room for 2 weeks. You're not doing X, Y, and Z. You don't give me no time. I mean, and I didn't think nothing of it. And of course, in that moment, I was defensive. I was ready. Like, you're not doing. I was ready to come back at him with what he wasn't doing. But quite honestly, though I may not have liked the delivery, everything he said was true. But I didn't see that.
Yeah.
It was in a blind spot. I thought, I was doing what I have to do. Business was going great, but my personal life was gone to shit.
Did you interrogate that to find out what is it that had you not wanted to be with that? And was there something you realized you needed to do differently?
I had to go back to, because a year ago I wasn't doing this. I had to, my youngest is 11 months. So I had to go back to, okay, is she good? I stopped doing my meditations. I stopped working out. I stopped, checking in with me. So I was putting so much on money, which the money, I mean, it's fine. Like, we're not struggling. So why are you going so hard? I'm not saying you shouldn't, be motivated, but you don't have to go as hard as you're going. The money's going to come, So it wasn't the fact that I needed finances. I was deflecting. I was not wanting to deal with myself, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go there, because this conversation about being a woman, because I really want to hear you share too, what you are willing to share during our live time here. This is, even though something may feel personal, it's very universal. So this topic of being a woman, right? And I want to hear from you, right? For even the women who are listening here, like, to you, what makes a woman versus a female?
Mm-hmm. To me now, a woman versus a female has a vagina. A woman, she just, okay, give me a second to think about this. I want to make sure I articulate it clearly because I can get excited. Okay. Female has a vagina. A woman, she has a vagina, but she also doesn't lead with that. So, for example, sometimes a female thinks, oh, I got good this, I got that, I got this. A man's going to do X, Y, and Z. Yes, but at the end of the day, you're still giving yourself away. Though you may be getting money, you may be getting stuff, you're still giving yourself away in your essence. And he may not deserve it just because he has money. Doesn't mean he deserves that. So a woman understands that. A female cannot be held accountable. A woman can be held accountable, but also still stand in her power and not let someone make her feel like, oh, I was wrong. Oh, fuck. A woman embodies all of her different layers, all of her different faces. A female thinks she has to, appease to the male gaze, be what society says she has to be. So those are a few things that differentiate a female from a woman, in my opinion.
Yes, I love it. Exactly that. And so much more. Would anybody here in the comments like to share from their perspective what makes a female versus what makes a woman? Because that's all true. I love that. And what has been the biggest challenge for you, Aaliyah, with becoming an actual woman?
The biggest challenge is maintaining my responsibilities on a consistent basis, because it's not just me anymore. So now I have to also pour into these other beings and make sure that they're good, that they're regulated. But shit, I'm oftentimes dysregulated. So I have to consistently make sure I'm good so that I can make sure my kids are, happy, having a great experience.
So you said the challenge is in taking care of them. And so, but really though, based on what you just said, prioritizing yourself.
Yes.
And what have you found, and maybe you're in process right now, so I'm curious, what have you found thus far to be the challenge around taking care of yourself? Or even how you see yourself?
Doing it unapologetically and not letting someone else's view make you feel like you're wrong for taking care of yourself.
Please say more about that, especially as a mom.
Well, I mean, at some point, for example.
Thank you for liking the live, Aluna. Aluna,
likes. And I may start crying, but that's just That's just how I am. I'm a crier.
It's honesty.
Um, Sometimes, I need time too for me. I went to go get my nails done yesterday. And normally it takes probably 2 hours, but it took 4 hours. I wasn't the only person there. And I won't name who, but someone in my close circle was questioning the time I was gone, trying to make me feel bad because our youngest is a little under the weather and I wasn't at home, but my mom was home with the baby. So, I mean, a few hours was not going to make or break how my baby was feeling. But I was told, oh, you knew that DJ doesn't feel well and you're still not home. You're really getting your nose on for 4 hours. And old me would have been like trying to explain, but me today was like, yes. That person kept wanting to have dialogue, but I had nothing else to explain. Yes, it took me 4 hours to get my nails done, and yes, I'm on my way home now. And
the story.
Right, old me would have felt like I should have just left. I shouldn't have went to get my nails done, or like I would have been second guessing every decision, policing everything I was doing, the tone in which I responded, how I respond, instead of checking in with me and making sure I was good. This is something I do once a month. I do this once a month. I get my nails and my toes done once a month. I deserve that, and I don't feel bad about it.
I love that you came around for that. I'd love for you to share, because it was so potent, and obviously you share what you want to share. You're not obligated to share anything. But in the woman community, and I'd love to share also with your audience right now, and any of my people we only have 13 people here, so I don't know how this thing goes with who sees what.
I think something's going wrong with TikTok because mine is saying a low number 2, but I just know, in my experience, I feel like there's more people, but it is what it is. I talk as if there's 100 people in here. Either way, if I have 2 or 10, 50 or 60, so it's fine with me.
Yes. So my woman community, which Aaliyah is a part of, we meet once a month. But this month, we've already met twice. And we had a meeting this past Monday where Aaliyah came for the first time. And it was powerful. I'd love for you to share about that experience. And then I want the women here who also are ready to be in community and to also know that we're really dealing with the primal level of a woman. And I'll let Aaliyah share more about her perspective since you're her audience, and I'll quickly share mine. We actually deal in adulthood in my community, okay? We deal in what most women avoid for most of or all of their lives. So we're dealing with your primal self. We're dealing with your deep unconscious mind, your repressed hidden self, the self that holds enormous power. So this is very adult. And Aaliyah came, and our community session that we had this past Monday was powerful, Aaliyah. And I'd love for you to share what it was like for you. And for those of you who are ready for a communal experience, my woman community is $99 a month. We have our womanhood initiation, which is your gateway, right? I want to be clear because women are always like, wait, so what? You come to the womanhood initiation when if you know based on what we're sharing here, and then based on what you read at the link about the womanhood initiation, you can come. So to read more details about the womanhood initiation in order to come into the community to have this kind of support and do this kind of deeper work to develop your womanhood, you could go to the link in my bio, click it, and one of the options there is womanhood initiation. When you go to that page, you read the details, you watch the video, vet yourself, and if you are a yes to you, then register. You need to be prepared, and this is assuming you're a good fit, because not everybody who shows up is a good fit. But you need to be prepared to invest $99 while we are live together on Zoom this coming Saturday, okay? And so that's the womanhood initiation on Saturday, which is your gateway into the woman community that Aaliyah is getting ready to share what her experience was like this past Monday. And then also what your experience has been like in the orbit of the womanhood world.
Okay, y'all. So it was super powerful. We were doing an exercise, and Naima wanted us to go around in a circle and discuss what our deepest fear is. Immediately, my palms are sweating. I'm like, shit. Okay, so I have to be vulnerable. I have to share how I feel. And if you know me, I'm very analytical. I'm logical. I can think all day, every day. But when it comes to feelings and being vulnerable, that's something that was one of my fears that I actually shared. But in that moment when it was time to do the exercise, after the first round, I was cool. Cool, I can do that. My first one. But then it's like it gets deeper because now you have to literally go inside of yourself and really, because in my mind, I'm like, I can't think of anything else. I don't have any more fears. I'm good. But no, we had to go back around again. It was the second round. And I'm like, and she had us, I think she said to scan our bodies. I think that was along the lines of what you said. Right. And I noticed that I was kind of like, as we got deeper in the exercise, I was kind of like going down in my chest. And you were saying how, okay, I want you to really be present with how you're feeling in your anus, in your stomach, and in your, what was it? Anus, stomach, and what was the other thing?
In your chest.
In chest, yes. Anus, stomach, and chest. And my anus and my stomach were fine, but my chest was like closing. So I'm like, oh, okay. I need to straighten my back up and open up my heart space so I can really share what I am actually scared of. What am I actually scared of? So I closed my eyes and I went internal, and something came out that I've never said before. And I started crying. It was a release, but I also learned something new in that moment, and it was intense. And it's something that I also took away from that exercise was when I I need to be present enough in my body so I can feel when I'm starting to close up again. And then I'll know, oh, okay, lean into that because you're getting close to something that you need to reveal for yourself. So I learned a literal exercise that can help me carry on in my personal and business when it comes to being afraid or being vulnerable, because those things are important. They're going to propel me further. They're going to get me where I need to go. I'm stopping myself because I'm scared to face certain parts of me.
Exactly.
So that was very powerful for me. I love that.
Because every woman is on her own journey and path, right? Like some women are ready now to start growing up. Some women won't make the decision for months, years, some women never. What is going on in your life that made you say now is the time for me to start taking my womanhood seriously? What do you want? What's the motive here?
I see all the time in my mind's eye my vision. I know since I was 20, before I even had kids, I knew I was going to have 3 kids. I knew I was going to have 2 sons. I knew I was going to have a daughter. Like, no ego, but I see a lot. I know a lot. So in order for me to get there, when I'm grounded and present, God, like, you're the reason why you're not, getting to where you need to go. And I'm tired of that. I'm tired of holding myself back. I'm tired of blaming other people. For the longest, I would blame my husband. I would blame my job. No, really, they're mirrors showing you what you're not willing to do for yourself. So at this point, I can't keep getting mad at my husband. I can't keep getting mad at my boss, my supervisor. What is Aaliyah going to do differently so you don't keep having these same experiences that you should not be having? So now I'm tired and I move different because I'm 29, but I'll be 30 December 14th. And I know that I need to start taking things more seriously. I know that I'm not running out of time, but I'm getting the nudge constantly by God that now is the time and I have to get it done. And I know the life that I'm supposed to experience, and I know the life that I want my kids to experience. And there's a lot of shit that I have to do right now, or it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. And what is it about? What do you mean right now? Is it something going on, or it just feels urgent like that?
I've never felt like this before, so I know it's pressing. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. It's like, I know, in my experience, it's just time. You just know it's time, and it's personal. It's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how it feels?
Yes, very personal. This has been 3 years in the making, though. This wasn't like I woke up one morning and was like, oh, I'm tired of this. No, like this has been a 3-year journey.
Yes, exactly. Coats, yeah. Hey, so how long? They vary. So the maximum we've gone, I want to say 4.5 hours is the maximum. And in this past week was a special session we were on for like 1 hour and 15. But then the week before that, because we did 2 this month, which is an exception, it was like, 2.5 hours, I think we were there. So the average has been about 3 hours. I can tell you that. The average has been about 3 hours. And it is almost always the first Monday of every month. Okay, 98% of the time, it is the first Monday of every month. For folks, anybody else who's wondering about time and dates. So who do you you think the woman community is best for? Because obviously it's not for any old woman. Who would you say it's for?
I think the woman community is best for women that are ready to truly and honestly step into their divinity and reject anything that is other than that. And if you're not serious, she's not gonna play with you. I'm gonna tell you now. You have to come in like ready, and she'll call it out. I love that about you, that you're not like coddling. Because I've had a coach before, I've had mentors, and I've had therapists tell me, "You have it figured out. You know what you need to work on. You know." I'm just like, yes, I'm smart, but I'm literally intellectualizing everything, and you're allowing me to continue to do that. You're not giving me the tools. Like my whole life, oh, you're so smart, you're this and that. People, because I'm smart and responsible, will say, oh, she's got it. Aaliyah's got it. No, I actually need assistance, but I haven't found anyone that could.
I would like for you to talk. Oh, this is so good. I'm telling you, because there are women, I have worked with women. Women have bought my products, and I've worked privately with women who are very smart. I mean, women who have PhDs, or they're just smart, street smart, and the issue oftentimes with smart women, okay, is that they conceptualize things very well. Has that been your thing, Aaliyah?
Yes.
You can. So for anybody else here who's listening right now, and you conceptualize things well, and of course I can talk about it, but Aaliyah, tell me what it's like for you when you do very good at conceptualizing, but you have not embodied it. It's not real for you. So you're not able to really get the results because it's not embodied. It's just intellectual or conceptual. What is that like in your experience?
In my experience, so with projects, for example, I could have strategically planned out every single step from day 1 to year 3. But when it's time to walk it out at 3 months, I'm burnt the hell out. And it's because I thought everything through, but I didn't think about how I was going to feel. I didn't think about how I was going to go into my actual personal real schedule. I didn't think about how many people I would need to hire to help me, because I can't do everything on my own. I didn't think about my energy levels. I didn't think about the bandwidth that I'm going to have in the project. I just know the big picture, how it could work. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes I'm not thinking about the feelings, the physical. I'm just thinking about, I'm always here. Like you mentioned, I'm always neck up.
Yes. Yeah.
And unless I literally sit myself down, close my eyes and meditate, I'm neck up. Woo. And that's in love. That's in everything.
Can we please talk about, oh my God, can we please change the world with this conversation? I need everybody here and not physically here right now. Your spirit is now hearing that as a woman, being neck up is a death sentence to your power. Being exclusively neck up. Now, let's clearly define what is neck up. So, Aaliyah, say that for us for the record. For the whole wide world, what is neck up, Aaliyah?
I believe being neck up means you're literally just thinking, okay, in my mind, mentally, this makes sense, but I'm not at all thinking about how it's going to impact my emotional, physical. I'm just thinking about my mental.
Yes. Love it. So a neck up woman is a woman who does everything from here. She's strictly a thinker. Okay. She could be feeling things, but she ignores it. She could know things, but she ignores it. It's all about what's happening up here. I'm thinking all the time. I got a million tabs open in my mind all the time. I'm so busy. I got to be here. I got to be there. What did my calendar say? Oh, I got to call them. Oh, I'm just thinking about this. And oh, I'm thinking about, like, my mom is so much like this. Like, we could be in the middle of a conversation and she starts another conversation because she has so many things happening up here. Now, Aaliyah, what is a neck down woman? What is a neck?
A neck down woman is here beside me, Naima. But no, a woman who embodies everything. She is all. She is logic, but she also is emotion. She is analytic, but she also can feel. She knows when things don't feel right, and she's gonna listen to it. Not only can she feel it, she's gonna listen to it. She's not gonna just think it away, or maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm overthinking it. She's going to trust what she's feeling and move accordingly. And when I do that, I love it.
Yes.
I
And this is
love it.
precise work that we're doing in the woman community because it takes practice. Like you said, people in your life, it's like, oh, you got this, you straight, go ahead and go. But you got it in the way that you just explained it because you know it intellectually, right? Like people will read a book. Oh yeah, I read Women Who Run with the Wolves. Oh yeah, I read what's another popular book? I read The Four Agreements. I read this. I read. Folks have read all these books. They didn't watched all these videos. They didn't watched and done and da 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 da. But it's not home. This is your home. This is your master tool. And like I always say, if the body says no, the answer is no. You can write that plan down for 3 years. You can know exactly what your marketing schedule is gonna be. You can do the numbers of what packages you're gonna sell, how many you're gonna sell, how much you need to sell each month to reach this financial goal. You can have it all written down and woo, I'm a boss. Right? And then you get to putting that thing in action. And like you said, by month 3, and sometimes sooner for some women, burnt out, overwhelmed, then you doubting everything you did. Can I really do it now? I did too much. I'm a failure. Can I really do it? Am I being ridiculous? Right? And then all that sets in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus feeling your way through the process. Yes, there's still some logic in there, right? There's a certain amount of time in the day, right? Those are hard and fast numbers. And feel your way through the process, which is true womanhood and true neck down behavior, which is practice, practice, practice. Those of you who know that this work that Aaliyah and I are talking about right now is for you, now is your time. Perhaps you're like Aaliyah, who's been sick and tired of blaming your husband or your parents or society or trauma from the past and things that you dislike or hate, done blaming the boss and other external factors. And you also have a vision for yourself, and you know that you're meant to be extraordinary in what you're able to create in the world sustainably. And you're ready to humble yourself, you're ready to be vulnerable, you're ready to be held in community of women who are also doing this level of work. Okay, this is very adult, higher level, hot, deep, alchemical work for true womanhood, which is rare. Okay, very rare for a female to become a woman. So if you know that you're ready for this, you need this, you're hungry for this, your body longs for this, your heart longs for this, your goals longs for this, your lifestyle longs for this kind of support, work, depth, connection, go to the link in my bio, click it and click Womanhood Initiation. Please, please, please read the information. Do not just register because you like what we're talking about right now. Read the page, watch the video, honestly vet yourself. If you are ready for what's on the page, if you are ready for what I shared here today, Aaliyah and I, if you are prepared, assuming you're a good fit, if you are prepared to invest $99 a month on Saturday when we meet on Zoom for the Womanhood Initiation, please register. I look forward to seeing your face. If you do not want what's on the page, you're kind of like about what Aaliyah and I are talking about. Something in you feels like it's just not your time or it's just not for you. And you're not prepared to invest the $99 on Saturday, then please, darling, do not register. Okay? Aaliyah, is there anything else you'd like to say in closing?
I would like to say, ladies, if you know deep down what you're called to do and who you're supposed to be, but you're afraid to move forward because you don't want to do it by yourself, you don't have to. But you have to be willing to invest in yourself. $99, we spent that on more on our hair. Let's be real, not list braids or $350. So the price, are you worth $90? Yes, okay. But if you're not ready to head on face yourself, don't do it. But I highly recommend this for women that know who they're supposed to be and they're ready to step in that fully.
Mm-hmm. Full feminine power. Any questions before we go? I'd love to open the floor for questions. And also, Aaliyah and I are going to be back 2 more times, sometime within the next week and a half. And Aaliyah, you want to share the two other topics we'll be discussing to get folks ready for that?
Yes. So in the future, you all, we're gonna touch on being emotionally unavailable and how that can possibly impact your kids. And we're also going to talk about being afraid of being vulnerable, period, because that also can stop you personally and in business.
Yeah. And the power of being vulnerable.
Yeah, it's not a weakness as it's taught to us.
Ooh, and this is so good when we do this in a raw way inside of the community. And what was the first one you mentioned?
Being emotionally unavailable for your kids and possibly negatively impacting them.
Wow, that's very specific. Does anybody else here deal with that? Any mothers here deal with that, being emotionally unavailable for their children and that impacting the relationship with the child or the growth of the child? Is that how you mean it, Aaliyah?
Yes, the growth. Yeah, their overall.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I just want to wait to see. Final call for questions. Hey, Karen. All right. Going once.
I have a question. I know you're asking the audience, but if I may, I'm very interested. What triggered your journey to where you're like, okay, it's time for me? When did you know?
So, I will be 46 years old in March. Okay. So I've been around for some time. So, just like you said, I didn't just wake up the other day and was like, I'm ready to go. It's been 3 years in the making. Same for me. Much longer than 3 years, but it's been a long time. When I was a teenager, I knew, first of all, I've always been different. So that's another thing I want to say for everybody here who's the black sheep in the family, and you've always been different, like truly, okay? And you feel very alien on this planet. And so many of us think that we're just going to struggle and suffer forever and be in isolation and be misunderstood and struggle. Lies, okay? I'm a living testimony to one, that's a lie, but number two, the power of actually coming into your power and what you're able to create as a result. You are so enormously powerful, and this is why so many of us don't want it, because of the responsibility required. So as a teenager, I knew that this, what we call normal and how this all works, I knew this was a lie. As a teenager, I knew I didn't want to have kids. I was never the girl who was like, oh, I so look forward to getting married and having kids. Never. To this day, I've never been like, oh, I want to have babies. Never. Okay. And just being that as a teenager and then matriculating through life, my whole direction, aside from when I did get married, I was married for 4.5 years and I left that. Yeah, so that was the one normal thing that I did. But aside from that, my whole life has been a fringe life. My whole life has been an abnormal life. So I'm a girl that has lived on the fringes of life. I have not lived the normal corporate, good girl life and da, 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 da. So it wasn't like so many people, they have a job and they're in their 30s or older, and they're like, I just realized I was tired of my job and I wanted something more. And, that's a common story.
Yeah.
As a teenager, I knew I needed to figure out how I was going to thrive because I knew I wasn't going to be a corporate girl. I knew I wasn't going to work for anyone. And so the trajectory of my life starting as a teenager had me on like the outskirts of what people call the normal life. And so it's been my whole life rededicating. And this is also how I know why. A few things. One, it's so difficult for us to come into our power because so few of us actually trek long enough alone and then actually do the development work because it is difficult. And the vulnerability that you mentioned, the vulnerability that's required, the breaking all attachments, the being willing to lose, the really going through dark nights of the soul and actually getting the gold out of the dark night of the soul, traversing, the inner landscape of your being and exploring things that you don't see anybody else exploring, doing things that most people would consider forbidden. Oh, I'm scared, or that's dangerous, or don't do that. Like, this has been my life. So while most people look at me and they see an articulate, smart, powerful Black woman, and they have no real concept of what it's taken to get here, it's like, darling, the level of embarrassment and shame and filth and loneliness and war and rededication. What is that? Keep going, rededicate. Like, so when I stand here before you and I command the way I do, and I hold the standards the way I do, and I'm clear the way I do, the way I am, it's because of what I've traversed. And as a result of overturning things and what I've traversed, I know things. Like, I actually know it. I didn't read it in a book, so then I'm telling you. I didn't get a story from my mom, so now I'm telling you. I didn't get something from somewhere, and then I'm telling you. I've actually walked the path that most people will never walk, because there's a true kind of loneliness to traverse. There's exploring things that you're not supposed to explore because that's dangerous, that's a sin, that's bad, that's shameful, like all that stuff. And so how we love to quote the Bible tells you to overturn stones. There's so much of like a truth and then a half of a truth and then a lie and then a distortion. And that's like the construction of the Bible. And so folks pick and choose a la carte what scriptures they want to take. But one thing the Bible told you to do is overturn all the stones. Not just the ones you're excited about, not just the ones that your mama gonna approve of, or the ones you like, what's on the other side. But what about when you getting called to do something you've never done, and it's scary, and you still do it? What about when you're called to do something that kills your ego, that the whole idea of who you think you are, that gets slapped and confronted, and you're the bottom bitch for a month, for 6 months, for a year. And in that bottom bitch, you actually find the power that you would have never found unless you were the bottom bitch for 6 months. Woo! You see? So this is why I back up who I am. I back up what I say. And so when you say to me, well, when did this start? First of all, I was born like this. And then I started making the decisions as a teenager. So I've lived a very unusual life for all of my life. Wow. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Okay. Interesting. I'll ask you something else later. I'll probably ask you offline.
Yeah, I haven't seen any questions. Have you?
Not on my end. People greeting, hello, y'all, hey. But no questions. Any questions on my end? Y'all have any questions for Miss Naima while she's here?
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say in closing is, at a real heart level for me, I'm excited, particularly for my community, to support women who feel very alien in this world. And they know that they're called to do very distinct work in the world. And they really want to take up space. They need to take up space. Their whole soul is hungry to come out onto the world stage and do something that's never been done. And this woman has likely been repressed and in isolation for all of her life, or most of her life. And she has codes, like for real. This is not just wanting to be important and spiritual and sound like something. This woman has that deep beast in her that needs to unleash for her to really do what she came to do. So I love that the woman community is about rawness and holds that standard. And there's no fuck around. Like, get the fuck out. You know what I mean? Or how about this? Don't show up. You know what I mean? So when you truly were born different, you don't fake something like this. You either were or you were not. And you have always been the black sheep of the family. You've always been the weird one. Like, everyone knows that you're the weird one in the family. And you went into a kind of isolation and inner withdrawal because you weren't like everybody else. And then now you're an adult, and it's like you walk around in so much pain because you have been the loner for all of your life, but now you're ready to move. Where do you go? My community, exactly. That was me. So for those of you who want to birth something for your people, for people like you, you need the support to be able to do that, because it's the cultivation of your inner world and embodying your full feminine primal power that's going to enable you to do the work that you're called to do. Be visible, take up space, command rooms, do your content online in a way that's compelling and authentic and full and true. So anybody who is that what I just described, it's highly likely that the woman community is for you. So again, go to the link in my bio, click it. There are about maybe 7 options there. I think maybe the 3rd or 4th one is womanhood initiation. Click that, watch the video, read the details. If it's a yes for you and you're prepared to invest $99 on Saturday, I look forward to seeing your face. If it's a no, then obviously do not register. So thank you so much, darling.
Thank you. But yes, you all, you heard the woman. If you're ready, let's go. If not, I appreciate you coming out. I'm going to stick around and do some TikTok shop stuff. So I appreciate it. I don't know if I can hang up on my end.
I'm going to go too. Thank you so much, ladies.
Have a blessed one. See you.
Bye.